For over half a century, the moon was a finished chapter in human history, a place we visited, planted a flag, and left behind. On April 1st, 2026, NASA launched the most massive rocket it has ever built, lifting the Orion capsule off the pad at the Kennedy Space Center and into Earth orbit. Inside the capsule, which the crew named Integrity, sat 4 people. Commander Reed Wiseman and pilot Victor Glover took the front seats. They were joined by mission specialists Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen, completing the biological element of a mission 50 years in the making. Their initial priority in low Earth orbit was strictly functional. Because this was the very first time Orion carried passengers, the crew spent their first hours rigorously testing the capsule's life support systems to ensure they could survive the deep space environment. With the life support systems verified, ground control gave the green light. The spacecraft's European module fired its main engine, executing a translunar injection. This diagram outlines their exact route, a free return trajectory. This specific figure-8 loop provided a built-in safety net. Even if the engines completely died, gravitational mechanics alone would automatically pull the capsule around the moon and slingshot it back to Earth. During the coast outward, the astronauts pointed their cameras back home. Using a high ISO setting of 50,000 to maximize light sensitivity, they captured a digital image of the Earth's dark side, where the glow of individual city lights was visible against the void of space. Taking that photograph marked a quiet milestone. The crew was now firmly caught in the gravitational slingshot, committed to the physics of the trajectory, with no mechanical way to simply turn around. The Orion capsule continued to drift outward, eventually reaching its apogee, the point in its orbit farthest from Earth. At over 400,000 kilometers away, the crew set a new record for human distance from our home planet. This breakdown illustrates a common illusion in space photography. Massive, screen-filling images of the moon are usually shot through a 400mm telephoto lens, which compresses the distance and makes the moon look artificially huge. The astronauts experienced something much more humbling. Looking out the capsule windows with the naked eye, the moon appeared roughly the size of a basketball held at arm's length. However, biological eyes possess a contrast range that digital sensors struggle to match. Staring down at the cratered surface, the crew could pick out subtle hues of brown and distinct shades of green hidden within the gray terrain. They also watched live micrometeorite impacts. Because the moon lacks an atmosphere to burn up debris, tiny space rocks smash directly into the surface, creating instantaneous pinpoint flashes of light that cameras often miss. These observations provide a level of context that digital sensors still miss. It shows that human perception remains a functional tool for identifying environmental nuances that a pre-programmed camera isn't looking for. As the capsule crossed the lunar horizon, the landscape shifted. They drifted over the Orientale Basin, an ancient impact crater spanning 900 kilometers, and entered the harsh, mountain-filled terrain of the moon's far side. Passing behind the moon places a wall of solid rock between the spacecraft and Earth. This physical barrier severed all radio signals, plunging the crew into a 40-minute communications blackout. At that moment, 4 human beings were suspended in a total void, drifting just 6 kilometers above the lunar surface and 400,000 kilometers from home, cut off from the rest of humanity. While in that silence, they witnessed the visual climax of the orbit, a total solar eclipse. The sphere of the moon perfectly blocked the sun, revealing a backdrop of distant stars and planets. This window of total silence serves as a stress test for mission protocols. It allows ground teams and the crew to verify that both the hardware and the astronauts can operate autonomously when the tether to Earth is severed. Emerging from the shadow, the mechanics of the free return trajectory took over once again. Earth's gravity grabbed the capsule, initiating a 4-day fall that accelerated Orion toward home. This diagram shows the re-entry corridor the capsule had to thread. If the approach angle was too flat, Orion would skip off the atmosphere and back into space. If it was too steep, atmospheric friction would incinerate the ship. Hitting the atmosphere at 40,000 kilometers per hour, 30 times the speed of sound, The friction compressed the air in front of the capsule, wrapping the ship in an envelope of plasma. That ionized gas creates an impenetrable radio barrier. For 6 minutes, Mission Control listened to dead static, while Orion's heat shield absorbed temperatures exceeding 2,700 degrees Celsius before finally slowing down for splashdown. Bringing a crew through that fiery gauntlet intact provided the physical evidence that our modern deep space shielding and navigation technologies work as designed. In 10 days, 4 astronauts traveled over 1 million kilometers through the vacuum of space. The data gathered from testing Orion systems serves a larger purpose. It moves the space agency away from the brief, temporary visits of the 20th century, shifting the focus toward constructing a permanent, habitable base on the lunar surface. Consider the International Space Station. For decades, it has served as our primary laboratory in low Earth orbit. The planned lunar base will act in much the same way, but serving as humanity's first deep space staging ground. Operating a permanent outpost in the Moon's gravity well allows engineers to test the habitats, rovers, and life support systems required for the next destination, establishing a human presence on Mars. The Moon now serves as a reachable, functional laboratory. This mission demonstrates a repeatable capacity for deep space transit, supporting the reality that human life isn't restricted to a single planet.